Okay, so while I do admit that in the recent chapters there has been a lot of hints and clues that Oda's been leaving for, understanding how strong some of the characters are, little tidbits. Some of it is in the feats, some of it is in the talking, some of it is in the understanding what people are saying and doing. I want to talk about, just how strong Luffy is. Now, what I want to talk about is not something that, Luffy talking down to Big Mom or anything like that, but I really want to talk about Luffy and Rayleigh just from how strong it seems Luffy is right now compared to potentially how strong Rayleigh is now. So, first off with Rayleigh, I want to say that what we do know about Rayleigh so far is that he's in his prime. He was the right hand of the King of the Pirates, Gold D. Roger himself, and as great of a title as that is, that doesn't really tell us how strong he was. Some people want to use it and say that, that just means that Gold Roger was, Yonko level, and so Rayleigh must have been first commander level, even though that in itself is a blurred line. And then some people want to say, okay, no, Gold Roger has to be beyond your commander level. He's Pirate King level, which also makes no sense. But that means, Rayleigh has to be Yonko level, a level below that. Some people want to say that, maybe he was as strong or just even stronger than Roger, which is, it's another thing in itself. Just, no. From that, at least, I think that we can, we at least know that he was, one of the strongest characters in the world back then, by anyone's standards. So, as far as how strong Rayleigh was, we don't know. And another issue is that we don't know how far he's fallen because of his old age. In Marineford, we saw how far Whitebeard had fallen, not only because of old age, but because he was sick. But it's very hard to see because of all the old people in the story, Whitebeard is the only person who has gone all out. All the other old people, Sengoku, Garp, Rayleigh, Crocus, none of these people have ever gone 100%. They've all maybe fought a bit, but none of them have 100%, so we don't know how strong they are right now, and it's even harder to try and calculate how strong they were back then. So what do we have to go on? We have, some of these feats, we just have some ideas based on stuff that they've said and stuff that they've done in the present time to measure their strength, So what do we know about Rayleigh? We know for one, he did fight with Kizaru. That's where my mind was going. But before that, we know that he doesn't have a devil fruit because we've heard of him swimming and everything, but he doesn't have a devil fruit. And so basically that means that any technique he does have has gotten weaker over time, because devil fruits are the only thing that they just stay the same even if you grow older, at least. But haki, swords, techniques, they get weaker over time with age. So we can assume that none of his attacks or none of anything he does is as good as it once was. But anyway, beyond that, we know that he has all 3 types of haki and that he taught it to Luffy, but we also know that he went against Kizaru. As far as his haki is concerned, we've seen he has pretty good Conqueror's haki. We don't even know if there's levels of Conqueror's haki yet, but we know he has pretty good Conqueror's haki. Armament, we know he has this next level that, the one that Luffy's been learning recently. He's got this next level of armament haki, so he's good at that. And we also know that his observation is good. Now, it's not Katakuri level good, but it's also better than most, like the average level, because there was a time where Gear 4 Luffy went against Rayleigh, and he was still struggling even then. Now I'll go a bit more into that fight a bit later, but from that we can tell that his haki is above average, because that bound man was supposed to also be fast enough to also catch people who can use observation, but it's just Rayleigh's one was just way above that. Of course not Katakuri level, but way above that, so he could still dodge it. And then what else? Another thing we know is that he fought Kizaru, and even though he was equal, he did mention that this in a drawn out fight it wasn't gonna work. He was not gonna win, and that as he is right now, he's a long way down from where he used to be. So that's what we know about Rayleigh as of now. Luffy, on the other hand, in comparison to Rayleigh, of course, we know that when he reached the Sabaody archipelago, Shocky mentioned that Rayleigh is 100 times stronger than any of you. So we know he was a long way away from Rayleigh. Of course, there's also the feats, just how all the Straw Hats got decimated, but he was a long way away. And then we have the training that happened, training, and then we reached the Bound Man Luffy versus Rayleigh. Now for that one, Luffy did not get one shot at all. And even with the Bound Man, Luffy did not have much training with it at all. It was one of the first few times he was actually going Bound Man, still learning his techniques. So even though Rayleigh did have the upper hand, it's like you're training with someone who just learned this technique. They're not going to be good at it, obviously. So I think that the Bound Man that Luffy used against Doflamingo was much better than the one he used against Rayleigh, because he did go through that 6-month period without Rayleigh of just improving by himself. So of course then the Bound Man got better, versus Doflamingo got better, when used against Cracker even better. So by the time he's using it against Karakuri, it's even better before he even learns the new observation and does Snake Man and everything. But up until the Karakuri point, it was much better than he did against Rayleigh. So how would that fare? We actually don't know, because we do know that Rayleigh had superior armament, and so that means that he could probably tank an attack by Bound Man, but how much could he have done so in his current age, and how long, how much stamina did Rayleigh have himself because of his old age? We're not sure, but it seems that even with that advanced armament, it wouldn't be a problem to tank Bound Man attacks. Okay, so I feel like at that point when he versed Karakuri, it would be very similar, but I would still give, undoubtedly the edge to Rayleigh. Now, after he learned the more advanced observation, I think that Luffy's observation, probably jumped to the same level or just a bit above Rayleigh's, still somewhere around there. Not quite intense future side, but a bit into the future, something like that. And at that point, I feel like Luffy could have a proper match against Rayleigh where he can actually hit him, Rayleigh can hit back, and they can go back and forth. Right? Of course, I think because Rayleigh still has the upper hand in terms of the armament haki that he had, Rayleigh would win. So I think at that point, it was just how long can Luffy keep gear for? How much stamina does Rayleigh have? That was more of the decider. And how long can Luffy keep taking Rayleigh's haki attacks? So still slight edge to Rayleigh, but Luffy is somewhere there as well. Somewhere there. So it's not too far behind, I think. Then we come to Wano. Wano, Luffy has learned, the newest form of this advanced armament haki that we've seen understood for the first time. And now it seems that he's much stronger than he's ever been in terms of raw power. He's much, much stronger. Now, of course, this obviously means that in terms of haki, he can match Rayleigh's. And of course, Rayleigh still has experience over him, but in terms of raw power, he can at the very least match Rayleigh in terms of haki. Then put that into Gear 4 as well, then I think Luffy has a slight edge over Rayleigh in terms of haki. Armament haki, a slight edge in terms of future sight. Now Conqueror, we don't know how that affects the battle, but I would still say Rayleigh's Conquerors is better than Luffy's, although we're not sure if that even affects any kind of battle at high level yet. But I would still give the edge there to Rayleigh. Now, that was just assuming that Luffy just learnt the haki, that they're somewhat on the same playing field. Because even though Luffy's haki is a bit better, Rayleigh has a lot of experience on his side. He knows how battles go. So I would say they were quite on the same level. And that no matter wherever you had Rayleigh in your rankings of all the characters, that's probably somewhere there is where Luffy would be. But recently I saw something which made me question this altogether once again. And of course this is a base assumption which I will mention to it, and that's what happened in 986, not 987 but 986, where Luffy removes the cuffs and they explode, and the raid starts, Kaido gets jumped and everything happens. When Luffy removes the cuffs, there is no armament haki. It is just his hands doing the thing with the cuffs. When in 947, I think it was, when Luffy is recalling Rayleigh removing the cuff off of Kami, Rayleigh uses the hardening. Now, again, the assumption for this is that there is a difference between not using hardening and using hardening, and it's not just inconsistencies, and that whoever's using hardening needs to use hardening is not as good as someone who doesn't need to use hardening. That is the assumption, right? And if that's true, that Rayleigh needed it to unlock this higher level of haki, but Luffy didn't, that would mean that Luffy is not just a bit better, but quite significantly better than Rayleigh at armament haki. That being the case, Luffy being better than Rayleigh both at armament, significantly better at armament, better at observation, better in terms of the fact that he has a devil fruit. Luffy's going to his prime, and Rayleigh is still depreciating. Like, Rayleigh right now is weaker than he was 2 years ago. Maybe not by much, but weaker still than he was 2 years ago. So by that logic, Luffy should very clearly be on a higher level. Because apart from the fact that Luffy's conquerors may not be at Rayleigh's level, Luffy has everything over Rayleigh at this point. But guys, let me hear your thoughts on this. Like, how strong do you think Luffy is right now? Can he beat Rayleigh? Can he not? Is it uncertain? And how strong will he be at the end of the arc as well? Like, how strong do you guys think Luffy will get? Leave all your thoughts, down below, wherever you feel like it. Please like the video if you like the video. I'll not encourage you guys to dislike the video. You can keep on moving on to the next one. If you know someone who needs to hear the truth, please share this video with them. If you have time, please watch one more video. If not, thank you for watching this one to the end. This is King KZ, and I'll see you in the next one.